guess who is retiring? They're going to sign a one-day contract with San Francisco. Hall of Famer, although that doesn't come to mind when I say his name.
Surefire Hall of Famer?
Yeah. Yeah, one day contract. He played in, I think, 5 Pro Bowls, a third-round draft pick, and this will give it away. He ended his career with exactly 16,000 rushing yards.
Franklin Gore.
Yes. Yeah. So he's behind Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton.
Aww.
Frank Gore ended with 16,000 yards, right at 16,000. That's great, though. Can you imagine if it's 15,999? I'd have to get one more carry there.
That one-day contract. Yep.
Yeah, one-day contract. Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer, Turner Sports NBA analyst, joining us on the program. Reg, how are you?
I'm doing great. First of all, hold on. Paulie, did you just say and question first ballot Hall of Famer, 16,000 yards? Seriously, Paulie? Yes. First ballot, easy.
Would that be like an NBA player averaging 16 points a game for 20 years? Or is that better than that? He's an...
If you average 16 points for 20 years, yeah, you should be in the Hall of Fame. Consistency.
Really? Is Joe Johnson a Hall of Famer?
No, but he didn't average 16 points for 20 years.
Well, but he averaged... What's Joe Johnson average for how many years? 16 years? 17?
No, he didn't. No way he averaged 16 points for 16 years.
All right. What do you got, Paulie?
Joe Johnson in 20 NBA seasons averaged exactly 16 points per game.
Hold up. No. But he's been in and out of the league. Those 20 years, like he signed with Boston as like a COVID replacement, and he stayed on.
But he's averaging 16 points for 20 years. You didn't average 20 every year.
No, but I averaged 19.999 for 18. Hold on. I want to get to some housekeeping first before we preview the finals.
Okay.
Number one, I've known you, Theodore, for over 25 years.
Yeah.
Close to 30 years.
Yeah.
And Fritzy, you've been a big part of that. So congratulations on that, because I know it's the 20-year anniversary of you two. Fritzy, you've been a big, huge part of that. So that is awesome. And I want to go back to Game 7 of that Boston versus Miami series, Theodore.
You want to do the Jimmy Butler shot?
Yes, because I've been reading stuff on Twitter, looking at the sports radio pundits talk, and I've been growing angry at this. So please interject all you want. I'm going to give you the psychology of what goes into that shot and why Jimmy Butler took that three, as opposed to maybe driving, getting fouled, or scoring a 2 to tie it and potentially take it to overtime.
Right.
As a scorer, a leader, they're only in that position because of Jimmy Butler. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, agree.
Okay. They were down 15 points. They had scored 13 points in a matter of a minute and a half to close within 2. So they were completely gassed just to get into that ball game.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm Jimmy Butler, I am assessing this in real time, by the way, because I'm the man. I've got to look at the eyes of my teammates. Do I think we have enough? If this was to go into overtime. Now, remember, you're processing information like this. And when he gets the ball, the rebound, and he goes coast to coast, this is what he's thinking. I easily probably could have drove on Al Horford, who's a great defender, who's been an all-NBA defender, who can guard shooting guards and point guards. Or I could pull up for this three, potentially go up one, and put the pressure on them to score or whatever to take the lead. For people who have never laced up a shoe, bounced a ball, for them to say that's a bad shot, it just lets you know what idiots they are. Now, again, I will say this. At home, most of the time you go for a tie and take it to overtime and let the crowd, that will kind of fuel you. But in this particular instance, the Heat had expended so much energy just to get back in the ball game. I'm just thinking personally, there's no way they would have had enough to hold off Boston if it was to go to overtime. If he would have scored 2 points, got fouled, and they would have went to overtime. I don't think they would have won that game in overtime. You go for the kill shot when you have the moment. The kill shot was the three. It was a clear three, and I know his statistics aren't great, but I would live and die with Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, whomever, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I would live and die with those guys taking a kill shot, knowing all the circumstances that I just kind of told you. That's why I think that's a great shot. For people to say that was a bad shot, you got to assess everything in real time as it's going. People don't understand that and the pressure that goes into that. I thought and think that was a great decision by Jimmy Butler. Go for the kill shot because you had nothing left. If you miss it, we know they're on vacation right now. If you make it, we're setting up a preview of them versus Golden State in the finals. That's my take on it. Being in that position over a bajillion times, 19.9 points over 18 years, Theodore. That's why I come up with that point.
And look, exactly. You've been in the moment, so you speak from experience. But I wanted you taking the shot. With Jimmy Butler, he can beat Al Horford off the dribble. If you get a pull-up jumper, you're going to get that shot off. I thought Jimmy Butler was going to do a hesitation, blow by him. Now it's tied. Celtics call a timeout. Crowd's going crazy. Let's go over here. Let's get ready. We're going to put the pressure on them. If he misses the shot, then it's over. I thought it extended just a little bit. Now I'm going to put pressure on a rookie coach in the moment. Is Jason Tatum going to step up? Who's going to step up? And if we don't, we go into overtime. On our home floor, we'll get some energy from the fans. Jimmy looked good with the shot as well, Reg. Like it wasn't an awkward shot.
Right, it wasn't, no. And he had space to shoot it.
Yes, he did.
All valid points you set up. My only thing is when you say blow by Al Horford.
Al's backing up. He's on his heels, Reg.
Like it was Daniel. Al Horford is a great defender.
He's on his heels. He's backing up. He's on an island. Jimmy Butler is going to blow by.
Which is why it was a walk-in three. It was a walk-in three for Jimmy Butler. I get your valid takes, but I don't think they had enough in the tank. If he gets by, blows by Al Horford, ties it up, or gets fouled, makes 2 free throws, and they go to overtime, I don't think the juice of that building, because they were a one-man band the last 2 games. They really were. Yeah. And it was all Jimmy Butler.
Well, Lowry played well.
Yes, the last 2 games.
Yes, yeah. But you're right. I mean, that team, healthy, gets to the finals, in my opinion.
I agree.
But, Bam Adebayo is a guy. Why are we always surprised when Bam Adebayo has a good game? Like, we're like, hey, Bam went for 26 and 9. He should be going for these numbers.
Thank you.
Duncan Robinson, where are you?
Yeah. Well, Duncan Robinson was it was all about Max Strus. Duncan Robinson never played at all, I think, the second half of the season.
Crazy. Should they have reviewed that three-pointer by Strus?
Did his feet actually touch it? I thought he pulled a Sean Elliott. I thought he was hovering over it. Look, that's the age of...
Well, they had to see enough to overturn it, but my problem is there has to be a time limit on when you can review something.
I agree. I think too much time had gone by.
Yes.
Because there were so many possessions. They went to timeout, and when they came out of timeout, Van Gundy was explaining, whoa, that's a big play. They took that 3 off by Strus. I mean, things like that matter in the big picture when it comes down to closing time.
We're talking to Reggie Miller. Much has been made of the Warriors' experience or the Celtics' lack thereof getting into the NBA Finals. And the point I've made is, you had 2 rookie coaches who beat the Warriors. Ty Lue did, and Nick Nurse did. And Udoka's a rookie coach. So, like, does it not factor in with the coach, but it does with the players as far as experience or lack thereof? It's not like you're playing on a neutral site. You're in March Madness and you go, oh, we're playing in the Metrodome. We've never played here. Now I'm worried about the shooting background. They played Golden State. They've been in that building before. Like, what is it about you get into an NBA Finals? Was it that much different for you? And did experience or lack thereof hurt you guys?
Experience always matters, and it helps, especially the later a series goes. As for coaches, and I think you and I have talked about this many times before, head coaches and coaching in general only matters this time of year in professional ranks, in professional basketball, because it's game by game adjustments. And you really can see who can coach and who can't. And it will matter the longer this Warriors-Celtics series goes. But I kind of somewhat harken back, if you're talking about a rookie coach in Ime Udoka, let's just set up where he is now. They play hard the last game of the year to get that number 2 spot, where Milwaukee could have played and got that number 2 spot and had home court advantage, and we'll fast forward to that. So they say, okay, we'll take the number 2 spot and have to face Brooklyn. When everyone was like, oh, no one wants to play Brooklyn. Kevin Durant, Kyrie, no one wants to see the Brooklyn Nets. What do? They sweep them. Oh, up next, the world champs. Oh, well, that's different from the Brooklyn and KD. You got Giannis coming in here. Down 3-2, have to go to Milwaukee and win a game on the road. They do that, come home and blow out the world champs in the second half to defeat Milwaukee. And then you've got the number 1 seed, probably the hardest working organization culture-wise in Miami, and they dust them off. That's why at this point, I'm taking the rookie chains off of Ime Udoka, because...
Are you picking Boston?
Here's the problem I have in my household, Theodore. My son's favorite player is Stephen Curry. And it's everything around here is Warriors, Steph. I'm yelling at him to stop in the backyard, stop shooting 30-footers and shoot layups. Stop it. You're not Stephen Curry. He got a chance to meet Steph for the first time at All-Star Weekend, and it was the thrill of his life. So in this household, it's the Warriors. We're pulling for the Warriors. But my fiber, everything is having me point towards Boston and winning this in 7. It really does, because...
Well, you can say it to me. Your son is at school, so he's not hearing this. You're good. Like, this is a safe space right here.
This is it? Okay. I really do believe Boston's going to win this.
Okay. All right.
Don't tell Riker. Don't tell anyone else. This is between the Danettes and you, and just us, all right? Boston is going to win the series.
What if your son said, Dad, who's a better shooter, you or Steph Curry?
I would tell him Steph Curry.
Okay. Would you really?
Hey, we're told never to lie to our children, right?
Okay. Charles Barkley was on yesterday, and he said you should work with Russell Westbrook. Could you make Russ a better shooter?
I could work on his repetition, but I think Russ is who Russ is at this point in his career.
But what is the flaw in that jumper?
I don't think there's a lot of follow through. I think his mechanics are wrong. I think he holds the basketball in awkward positions, but that's okay because that's how he shoots. I always tell people, you shoot how you're going to shoot. I had an awkward release. That's just, they're like fingerprints. That's who you are.
But you made those. He doesn't make them. Therefore,
I would work more on his repetition. I don't think he puts enough time in his shooting. Truthfully, I think he shoots up to a certain point where he feels good, and that's it. You've got to shoot until you are exhausted, and then that's when the shooting starts.
Yeah.
That's when the shooting starts, is when you're past exhaustion.
Yeah, I just wonder that you can't change him.
You can.
And
he is who he is, and that's okay. I would just want to build on him being more consistent and having. I just don't think he has confidence. I really don't. I don't think he has confidence in his shooting ability, and that's why I would want to work on getting him past exhaustion because he works so hard doing everything else in his game, rebounding, playing hard, defense. He works hard on everything else. That's where I want to get him. So when he is exhausted from doing everything else in a ball game, he can rely on making a 15, 18, 20-foot jump shot.
We suggest that Charles should work with Zion.
That would be awesome.
Because Moses Malone changed Charles Barkley's life.
Yes.
He said, you're fat and you're lazy.
Yep.
Charles' words. And he lost 50 pounds. And it changed Charles' life.
And a first ballot Hall of Famer and a top, I know they said 75 players, but Charles is in a top 30 type player at 6'4", being able to do what people want to sleep and they just think about his mouth on TNT and they forget about the basketball player, but he was problems. And that would be a great, if those two could work, because Charles would be brutally honest with Zion, because it's not only is it going to be on the basketball court, it's going to be what's going on in the kitchen too, right? Like, what are you putting in your mouth?
Yeah.
Like how your everyday 24-hour behaviors too. And Charles would be the first to tell you he wasn't, a role model and he didn't do things by the book. But what Charles did know how to do was dominate. And after he lost those 50, 60 pounds from that slight suggestion from Moses, there's a reason why he was a surefire Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because back then, if I gave you money, I might make a $30 million or $25 million mistake. If I give you $250 million now,
look.
Would you extend Zion and give him the full extension?
We've had this conversation before.
There's no middle ground, Reg.
I know. And here's the thing. He's played 85 games over 3 seasons. 85. So the numbers are there that he's not going to be healthy.
But Embiid played 60 in the first 3 years. Philadelphia was patient with somebody who had back issues.
And New Orleans has been patient too.
But New Orleans is ready to win now. That's a good young team. And
I think you have to. I think you have to give them that. And I never want to get in anyone else's pockets because we know the owners are making 10 times more. They want to pay him $250 million. The owners are making, and the organization is making a lot of money. But it is a small market. And to commit to something like that to a guy who's only played 85 games over 3 seasons is a lot, Theodore.
I know.
But I think he has them. He has them over a barrel. He does, unfortunately.
Before I let you go, I made a big deal about Boston built this team. They signed some guy, brought some guys in, but a lot of draft picks. Golden State, same way. They built it. You start to look at these big free agents and money that's spent, and we're going to bring in this guy and bring in that guy, and it hasn't worked for the most part. I mean, Anthony Davis getting traded to the Lakers. It's easy. We're a copycat league where you go, okay, that's how you build a franchise here. Is this just an anomaly that these two teams meeting for the championship, are homegrown teams?
No, because you've got to look at upper echelon leadership. Brad Stevens, who was the coach and now is the general manager, president, and Bob Myers, a former agent who's used to scouting and evaluating talent, and as well as Brad Stevens coming from Butler and knowing how to go out and recruit young players and knowing the character, how things fit in our system. Both of these organizations kind of parallel one another. And it's kudos to them because it's easy to go out and give a blank check to a free agent and say, they're going to change the franchise, change the fortunes of our franchise. It's not that easy. You've got to look at character, culture of your franchise, your fan base, what type of player you're bringing in, what were some of their statistics while they were at other places. All those things have to factor in, and I applaud organizations that build from within. It's easy to go out and get the splashy free agent, and Golden State kind of did that to a certain degree, bringing in KD, but they had already won. They already won a championship. They had won 72 games when they brought in KD. So that they had already built what their culture was about, and he just fit in perfectly. So I applaud teams that are building from within, because that's the only way you're really going to win with players now that are 19, 20, 21, because you don't know how they're going to pan out, Theodore.
Celtics fans, they get a little sensitive about the number of titles they've won, number of titles the Lakers have won, and that you shouldn't include the Minneapolis Lakers in the titles for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Here's a guy who would die for one. And who cares who has 70 or 80? Oh, are you kidding me? Stop it. Stop it. You're in the finals. Be happy, and you have a chance to go one up on the Lakers. You have a chance. Don't let me down. But listen, Boston fans.
Thank you.
Don't tell my son.
And I'm not going to tell your son. I'm not going to tell no one. I might tell your wife, but I won't tell your son.
Not tell him at all.
That little guy would be devastated if you said, Daddy picked the Celtics to win.
Wait, I'm going to be. Do we have 1 minute?
Is he there?
Yes, we have 30 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, no. Reg's going to go get his son. This is TV debut. His son's probably a better shooter than all of us.
You leave out probably.
I know his son's probably a better shooter than some of us in this room. Uh-oh. Okay.
Can you tell Mr. Patrick, who do you think is going to win between Boston and Golden State?
I think Golden State's going to win.
And why?
Because they're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
And who's your favorite? Who's your favorite player?
Steph Curry.
Is Steph Curry a better basketball player than your dad?
Yeah.
We raise them to tell the truth.
I like that.
In this household.
I like that. Thank God you look like your mother.
Thank God, right?
Yes. All right, go work on your jumper, by the way.
Yes, layups. Tell him layups and to work on his left hand.
Stop shooting the three. Get some layups. Mid-range jumpers, all right?
Get on.
I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Theodore.
That's Reggie Aloysius Miller and his son.